All right. You are watching The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Thank you very much for being a part and parcel of our show this morning on this Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2026. I mean, a month is coming to an end. You got to accept that the first quarter of the year is just done. We're just telling each other Happy New Year, but I mean, time flies, isn't it? All right. So let me take you back to one of the big announcements that were made by the president in the course of 2025, the news that indeed Kenya was going to get yet another expressway, should I call it, under the Mau Rironi Summit Road construction. I mean, majority of Kenyans were overjoyed when the president announced that indeed that particular road was gonna get constructed. Is a reason for majority of traffic jams along that particular route. But then again, on November 27th, 2025, Kenyans were treated to yet another news item on that particular announcement by the president that some petitioners had petitioned the government to stop constructing that particular road until some issues were ironed out in the collaboration of that particular deal, that the making of that deal had wanting issues according to that petitioner. Now, named in that petition, if you do remember very well, was the CS, the Ministry of Roads, Kenha, the PPP director in charge of that particular road, and also the National Social Security Fund and Attorney General was supposed to be the respondents in that particular case. Now, we do know that Nakuru Court, led by Justice Julius Nagea, ordered them to serve the respondents who had back then on November 28th, actually, should I say 27th of 2025, 7 days to file responses. Now, for Kenyans who have used that particular road and for Kenyans who are online as well, you have been noting that we haven't gotten the end of this particular case. But also something is going on the ground, is that we've been seeing a couple of pictures emanating on the ground from the Mau Rironi Summit that indeed, despite that case that is right there in court, construction has commenced. In fact, the latest news is that that particular road has been given up to the July of 2027 for construction to be done and dusted with. That's the news. So this morning then, we have to revisit. And the question that we are asking this morning is that would the courts really stop the construction of the Mau Rironi Summit? Seated right there in the studio with us then are the real petitioners of that particular case. Let me take this time to introduce one, Mr. Murima Peter, who is the Motorists Association of Kenya chairman. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Happy to have you around. Also joining us in the studio is Honorable Joyce Mamahio, who is an economic and political analyst. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Siba.
I'll start like this. It was big news. You guys were not liked by majority of Kenyans. We saw the uproar online when you finally petitioned the government to stop the construction of the Mau Rironi Summit, a road that was touted as a solution to the problems that are facing Kenyans within that particular route. And the news didn't come at a very good time. They came in at a time when Kenyans were just about to go for their festivities, to be met by the traffic jams. And here you are telling them, we want to stop it. It's been a couple of months since you launched your petition. But what is going on the ground is that construction still goes on. But for me now, because I had this conversation with Joyce, whatever we were doing is just enlightening Kenyans on exactly what the issues were on this particular petition. She wasn't liked. It was one of the most viewed interviews towards the end of last year. and the comments that we're getting from that interview were not kind for Joyce. Let me go back to what we haven't spoken about this particular petition, because we do know Justice Julius Nagea gave the respondents 7 days to serve your responses in your petition. And what we do know, the CS Ministry of Roads was cited by you guys in it. Kenha was cited in it. The Public-Private Partnership Director, I think this is from the China Road and Bridge Corporation, was cited in this as well. We do know also that the Attorney General was also supposed to come in and weigh on this particular issue, given 7 days for that case then to take ground. So I'll start with you, Honorable Joyce, on this particular one. What is the update as of November 28th? Because we do know by then the first day of the respondents serving their responses was already counting down.
Thank you so much, Asiba. Before I weigh in on that matter, our brothers from the Muslim brothers have gone on Ramadani. I want to wish them well as they pray for this country. Okay. The Christian fraternity again has also started the Lent. This is the fasting also. So we are calling on the Christians and the Muslims to pray for this country. We are on a thread that needs literally people to come together and pray. On 28th of November last year, when the matter was heard and determined, once the matter was heard, we were given 7 days to notify the respondents, and that was done. On early week of December, the respondents had received the summons and the notices.
Yes.
And the matter was pushed to 2nd of February for the submissions now to have been submitted, because initially within the 7 days it was for the preparations of the submissions, notifying the courts of the presence of the interested parties. So on 2nd of February, the petitioner, the respondents had filed their responses.
That is on the 2nd of February.
February
yes.
This year, the
yes.
2nd of February, the respondents had filed. And we also did our own further submission, because we were notified on the submissions that had been done by the respondents. And true to what you said, construction of the said road have been going on, which is contrary to what had been directed. See, but these are technical details that we want to discuss. That the BQ document had a start and an end. The start was the construction of the road, the touring, and also the conclusion. And when we sought the court to hear us, we wanted first for these matters now to be discussed, for these matters to be expounded. Because in the BQ document, much of it has not been even made public. We do not know what it entailed, whether they started with the touring part or whether they started with the construction, whatever the components of the BQ document was. The public domain, the public need to be enlightened on what is going on. But instead of the respondents addressing now the petitions, the issues that had been raised up, they have gone ahead and literally covered and cleared the bushes. Part of the roads have been going on. We find this harassing to the motorists, because what was addressed in the petition, what was petitioned have not been heard and determined. For the go-ahead to be given on, go ahead and do the road. So this is an issue that have raised a lot of concern. We are still on the discussion of whether we should go back to the court again and request an audience again. Why Kenha has failed to adhere to what was raised in the petition. Thank you, Siba.
Pretty much. I'll be coming to you then on the specifics of the responses that were given. Let me cross over to you, Mr. Mriman, and welcome to Look Up TV. I mean, we do know what the Motorists Association of Kenya stands for, What was your interest in this particular petition? Because when we see motorists, we know that your concerns are for the motorists who use this particular road. You were bashed online that you should be fighting for the completion of this particular road, because then it goes hand in hand with what you're trying to push in this country when it comes to road transport. What were your specific concerns in this particular petition?
The particular concerns by motorists, those are the people who own the vehicles, is that they are owed by the government a road. And the road that they are owed, it's supposed to be done using their taxes. Because motorists, or let's say vehicle owners and drivers, are very faithful on paying their taxation. But when they pay their taxation, they sign a social contract with the government for services. And it is the norm that the government exchequer, that is the consolidated fund, is the one that builds roads.
Yes.
So unless there is a change, a policy change, that now motorists are the ones to build the roads instead of the exchequer where they pay the taxes, then we have not seen a policy change on the same. Because we know that there have been a delay of upgrading this road for 16 years. And I can tell you that for the 16 years, the PPP arrangement was being done at the expense of upgrading the road. Roads are upgraded gradually, a section after the other. But in this case, they have been waiting for close to 20 years when we can recollect the first time we started complaining about the road. So as an association, or as vehicle owners, we are not against construction of about the road. Actually, we are saying it is long overdue. It's supposed to have been done yesterday.
Yes.
Because it is the work of the respondents, especially the second respondents, Kenha, to ensure that roads are done and they are budgeted for. We have not seen a budget in the 16 years of this planning of PPP. So we know that from taxation, we are seeing now a takeover in the PPP guys. Because PPPs are taking over taxation, and PPP are privateers. So the law says that the only body that is supposed to collect taxes from Kenyans, it is KRA, or the government, not the privateers,
Yes.
not a private person.
Yes.
So when we start shifting from collecting taxes from motorists and having, after collecting all, because you see now, when you buy fuel, the running costs, 90% goes to, Kenya shillings, 90% go to taxes.
That's true.
Or let me say 52% of the fuel cost. So when you go to buy a vehicle, almost half of that, the cost, insurance and freight, is taxes. So on the bit of motorists, we are paying our bit so that we can get services in return. But what do we see? We are seeing a takeover from now the normal taxation, which is legal, to an illegal taxation that is being forced, mpende msipende. And you'll find that unless a court of law speaks out and protects the citizens,
That's it.
you'll find that already we can say that the parliament, we have tried to lie to the parliament. They are compromised. The executive, you can see the PPP is the executive, the CS. He is the one forcing down the throat of people the PPP system. And the road that is in question, the Rironi, Naivasha, Nakuru, Mau Summit, is a road that ought to have been done when Thika Road was being done, when Keno Marwa was being done.
Yes.
If you look at those people who go towards north, that is Nyeri, they don't pay toll. How do you think you can subject those people who are heading towards the western side to be paying toll over and above taxes? Because toll roads are a private land, and these are public assets. A pure BOT is built away, just like SGR, away from an existing road.
That's it.
That is what you call build, operate, and transfer.
Yes.
But you cannot take an existing road and turn it into a BOT, and then you start telling people to seek other alternatives. So those who are opposed to us going to court, actually we can call them, those are the proponents for oppression of the public. But the public who use those roads to the western side know and have been complaining to us that we cannot be subjected to pay toll fees to use our own public roads.
Yes.
In the guise of upgrading the road. Upgrading that road has been inflated. It's the most easiest thing to do. Already we have an abandoned road from Naivasha, known as Barok, all the way to Ranet,
Yes.
through Barok and Gilgil. That road requires just simple refurbishment, because our problem, mostly you find, from Nairobi, we have so many roads towards Rironi. And from Rironi, we have two alternatives, which one carries the trucks and the other one carries lighter vehicles. So there is no, the grid rock that they claim is there. But when you get to Naivasha, where now the heavier vehicles and the lighter ones merge, that is where we have the issue. And that place is very easy to upgrade it section by section, instead of giving a concession of 30 years.
Yes.
That we'll be paying a foreigner tolls instead of paying taxes, which is easy. Taxes or tolls.
Pretty much. So we're coming back to you, because what the government is talking about this particular project, it is a PPP, and they're giving examples of those private-public partnerships that are already working on the same model. We'll be talking about the expressway once I come from Joyce. Now, Joyce, let's go back to the ongoing construction of the Rironi Mau Summit. What did the judge specifically issue? Did the judge issue a court order that was to stop the construction of the Rironi Mau Summit until this particular petition was heard and determined, or did the judge issue willingness to hear this case on an emergency basis?
The judge was very explicit on what he wanted. And he asked the parties to go before him, make their own submission, but the road should not go on. Why, Siba? Just like my chairman has said,
yes,
we are basing it on illegality. And we cannot have a start of a process with an illegal start of a process, then we conclude. Take a case of the tolls, the tolling in this country. The tolls was abolished in, tolling was abolished in 1984. And in place of tolling came in the fuel levy. That was in 1984. The Ministry of Finance today do not have a toll policy. So this road is being constructed against a toll policy, because the objective of the concessionaire is to come in, build the road, charge tolls on the users of that road, and repay. So we already have an illegality on the start of a process.
yes,
So if it is an issue of the construction of the road, it is not, we are not here compelling the Kenya not to do the road.
yes,
It is the duty of Kenya to do roads in Kenya. It is the issue of the processes that have been involved, and the process here is illegal. Other than the tolling, which is illegal, we also have the process of getting who will do this road. Why are you bringing in the National Social Security Fund as a concessionaire and bring in a foreigner? If it is an issue of our own funds, because NSSF is coming in to provide funds. So if NSSF has its own funds that are set aside, SIBA, then we do not need to go to a foreigner to go and get funds to do our roads, because we already have funds from NSSF. So a lot of what the judge was looking into was the irregularities therein. The processes that have been used to do this road literally have not met what we call the threshold.
Yes.
The public participation was not done properly. It was done, we would call it like a sectional public participation, that when they're in Nairobi, they are discussing this. When they go to Rironi, they will discuss this. When they will go to Maimahio, they will discuss this. When they will go to Naivasha, they will discuss this. SIBA, we've had cases of where members of public are called to appear for a public participation, and certain sections of certain questions are asked. But Kenyans need to realize that we've not had a scenario where we've recorded what was asked to SIBA in Nairobi, what was asked to Joyce in Naivasha, whether it is consistent. We've realized when they are doing the Rironi Mau Summit Road that different sets of questionnaires were set out,
yes,
which were not corresponding with the kind of roads that we have. Look at the kind of the alternative roads that the government was providing, that is providing. It was not stipulated out during the public participation. And we highlighted this during our petition. So we brought to the attention of the judge, wait a minute, judge, what was discussed in the public participation in terms of alternative methods was not what is in consideration. The final document that was submitted to the concessionaire said that it is providing an alternative road for those motorists using the eastern side of the left side of the road to go through Gong, Suswa, Narok town, and then proceed to Narok. To proceed to the western part of the country. That was not in the public participation document, because these are issues that should have been stipulated wrong before, so that Kenyans can now question. Kenyans can now question what Peter is saying. Instead of going through Gong and Suswa and Narok, and we have an alternative, a parallel road that is running along the Narok Mau Summit Road. Why take us to Gong Suswa when you can rehabilitate Naivasha Barok Road? So some of these processes that were mentioned during the public participation were not included in the final document, and that is where we have an issue. Yes. That the process was wrong. What is captured in the document vis-a-vis the constitutional processes are all wrong. You cannot bring in, you cannot start charging, you cannot start tolling roads when we do not have a toll policy. Because what section of the toll policy are you going to cite when the Chinese contractor concludes and finishes that road? If Kenyans decide not even to use the Rironi Mau Summit Road, and the concessionaire has already constructed this road, and Kenyans have decided to use alternative roads, what will happen? What will happen to the Kenyan government now that the motorists have decided not to use that road because it's expensive?
Yes.
The issue of charges. In the public discussion, in the public participation, there was never the issue of charges that will be charged for the motorists, that for every kilometer you are going to use, you'll be charged 13 shillings. Come the final document, SIBA, and then there's the question of that for every kilometer, you'll be paying like about 20 shillings, progressively. The definition of the word progressively, how is it binding?
Yes.
If today we decide to use 13 shillings and tomorrow we hike it up to 200 shillings, already the document is binding. So we needed a watertight document that can be given to the motorists, and motorists to own up, because motorists are the ones who are going to pay for for the usage of this road. So that is where we questioned the viability, the processes that were used to determine, to give out this road to the concessionaire. Finally,
Yes.
when he says the PPP, and we bring in the issue of the build, operate, and transfer, which of course last time when we were here in December, it brought in a lot of heat. We already have an existing road. We already have a road that touches from Rironi. It is not even Rironi, it's Kwabera. We have a road that stops at Kwabera, goes all the way to Mau Summit. There's already a road.
Yes.
So when Kenha brings in a concessionaire, says this foreigner, kindly improve on this road. So it is not build, operate, and transfer. It is improve this road, then transfer this road, which is not within what the BOT terms. So it is in essence the processes that we are saying that Kenya, you are adding these processes.
Yes.
Yes.
So just take 45 seconds before I cross over to Mr. Mrima this morning. The construction is already started. Is there an existing court order that will look to stop the ongoing construction until this petition is listened to and determined?
We're having that discussion within the stakeholders because several stakeholders are involved.
Yes.
When that matter came up on 2nd of February, that was not spelled out clearly. It was only spelled out clearly last week that matter now will be heard on 4th of May.
That's it.
And when that matter will be revisited on 4th of May, already road is being constructed. Mm-hmm. So this is a discussion that we're having within the stakeholders so that we can see whether to go back to court and discuss with judge and tell judge, yes, look at this way. That we gave Kenha the instructions not to do this road, and yes, they are doing this road. Kindly give further direction so that all of us can sit together and discuss and look for a way forward.
Pretty much. I'll be coming to you on other areas as well that have been highlighted by guys who are looking at it differently. Mr. Mrima, let's then talk about that particular issue as well. That we've seen such kind of projects, especially infrastructure projects in this country, exist as a PPP and keep on flourishing. One of those areas where it's kind of working, it's the expressway in the country, where Kenyans are now paying toll fee to use the expressway between Westlands all the way to Lolongo in the country. That it is working, and it's proven that if you go that direction, then majority of the projects that you're going to carry under this framework of PPP, it's going to work. So somebody comes and says, so why are they fighting it? That's the biggest question that you were asked, that it's proven it's working. So why can't we let it work somewhere else as well?
Mm-hmm. Nairobi Expressway is not a good example. Nairobi Expressway has got a lot of restrictions.
Yes.
Nairobi Expressway, if you go right outside and check, it serves a minority, some elitist group. When we look from the transport perspective, what we require in Nairobi is mass transit, not segregation, not some motorists using the road,
yes,
at the expense of the others. If you look at the expressway, you find that so many motorists are jammed in the neglected, we call it lower deck, for lack of a better name.
Yes.
And it's completely neglected. I don't know whether you have driven at night at that alternative. Many people shun driving at night.
That's true.
It is a complete concrete jungle, very dark, and you'd fear driving through that. So if you look at other examples of a PPP, because now Nairobi Expressway has failed, we have one member who has been fined and restricted from using that road because the furniture there, because they are privately owned. If you touch a furniture, just a cab, a road cab, you are fined in hundreds of millions. We have those receipts of members who have been fined. Others has been restricted. They cannot use that road. Some vehicles are restricted from using that road. Yet the Constitution is very clear on the freedom of movement. That is Article 39. Article 39, yes. So if you look at the freedoms, because the Constitution, we have a very robust Constitution that talks about the freedom of expression and good governance. In Article 210, yes, where every citizen has got the right of equity. You are not supposed to be segregated or discriminated against. But now once we start introducing these elitist highways
Yes.
that serve only, we can say the super rich. Yeah, the super rich have got their freedoms, but then not at the expense of the public. Public assets are supposed to benefit the public. And that is why you see that Bechtel and Usahihi declined from the Mombasa Expressway. Do you know that?
Yes.
Do you know why they declined? It's because it was an illegality. They did not, the West, unlike the East, mostly look at the legality of a project. And when they weighed and found that in acquiring a public asset and turning it into a user pay, there is a lot of what you call illegality, they declined, even after signing that during the Biden, the government visit in US. So what we are seeing is that the East are saying they will do it, whether it is legal or illegal. And we have seen that the respondents here, we have the CRBC, we have the PPP, and they are taking the road by force, by fire. So if you look at what we are supposed to have, the amount that is being used here or being claimed has been inflated, 200 billion, sometimes 160. That is why when we went to court, we wanted clarity on the cost as a public.
Yes.
How much is this road costing? Can we, as public, afford to do this road? Can we, as a republic, not afford 100 billion? Do we require those 200 billion that has been inflated from the previous regime, 160 to 200, 210 sometimes? So we say that the PPP has got a case to answer in terms of the inflation.
Yes.
And if you look at the normal costs of doing a kilometer, during a kilometer, because they are not acquiring land, it's not that expensive. So these are questions that will move beyond the case.
Yes.
This amount will remain because we have a local solution. And the local solution of doing this road is using our own normal processes. We have done in the last 20 years, 2013 to 2022, we did 13,000 kilometers of tarmac. What is 175 kilometers that we cannot do? And then we are not asked to do that road all at once. We can start with the most important sections. So what we are seeing is an economic, I don't know whether we have words like economic crimes. I don't know who we are going to cite for these economic crimes.
Yes.
Because we have real issue when it comes to upgrading of roads.
Yes.
Because we have seen, I can tell you, Simba, that there are other geo-interests in this, not necessarily what is being portrayed. The optics that we are seeing, oh, this road will be done in 6 lanes. No, we can do that road ourselves to 6 lanes even better. But do we have to give our sovereignty to geo control? we know that the east, this is not just any other road. This is our port access. The northern corridor is the port access to the Greater Lake region. That is Congo, Sudan, Rwanda, Uganda, and all those countries. So there are other factors. And if this is a corridor that is transporting transit goods to other countries, if those who are transporting using this country cannot pay, how do we now turn roads that are supposed to be done in a superior way to be used by transit goods to benefit other countries? And instead of the transit toll that they pay being used to do the road, the locals who are doing their runabouts to buy fertilizer are being told and restricted and asked to use alternatives that does not exist. So what we were expecting is first they would have done the alternatives.
Yes.
Because you cannot do a road and then deny the public from using it, and then you start charging them user pay, because they will say, we have Dogo Kundu in Mombasa. And I can tell you, Simba, Thika Road, the same East had tried to toll it. There are some toll blocks they had started erecting.
Yes.
But the public rejected. So what Joyce is raising here, my colleague, is that once this road is done, we are going to have to fall into legal problems, because people will either shun it, or people will have very low traffic, such that these people cannot get their own money, and they would end up taking our road for I don't know how many years.
Yes.
We have Zambia, we have Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka port has been taken for 100 years. We have Zambia, where against a forced loan, because they are telling us that this is better than loans.
Yes.
But if you look at loans are paid by the exchequer through taxes by everybody else, because roads are benefit all the people, not motorists. Segregating or taking a certain section of users and charging them for a road, it is against the financial
Yes.
discipline, of fiscal financial discipline, of where taxes are the ones that pay for the roads, not motorists.
Pretty much. Guess what? And just we've got to keep going back to some of the people and some of the entities that you've listed as respondents here. Some of them are spoken actually. Between your petition up to where we are right now, they haven't spoken again because we know the project has started, going by the images that we're seeing on the ground. This is what Kenha said, and I'll read exactly what they said. Now, Kenha, when they saw your petition, they came out and clarified that no contract had yet been finalized at the time when you're filing your petition, and that the project at that point was still at the negotiation stage with a preferred bidder. So all they had is somebody who would come in and help construct this particular project, and that they were still looking at many other issues within it. But then I'll read exactly what the officials who were involved in this project are saying, and I'll read it, that the project has gone through a proper, number one, financial analysis based on the PPP guidelines for other existing, and this is what they're saying, for other existing projects in this country, that it conforms to what the country has done to other PPP projects. They've also said that they've gone through a proper socio-economic model in this country. And according to them, this particular project meets all the standards that make it a successful project for the people of Kenya. Once we come from this break, I'll be looking at whether, indeed, according to Kenha, that your petition might have come too early, according to them, because they were still negotiating through some of the issues, and if indeed they've done a proper social economic analysis of this particular project. Also, once we come back right here on the morning drift, we'll be talking about what are the petitioners really seeking, because we do know what would happen. Number one now, if the project has started, are they going to go back for a court order to stop the construction of this particular road? Number two, are they seeking for a dismissal that could see the project stop proceeding, all right? Sorry, conversely now, they could see this project stop proceeding and the government comes back with different ways of doing it. And so what happens to the contractors on the ground who've already started doing this particular project? Is it beyond the petitioners now? Because we do know some of these projects also indicate that if they stall, you gotta pay. And that is me and you who are going to pay. Have the petitioners now looked at what is surrounding this particular project? Once we come back right here on the morning drift, we're still with Mr. Mrima Peter and Joyce Omayo. Once we come back. To the morning drift. I know you've got questions, you got to put them across. For those people using the Rironi Mouth Summit, you're already seeing a lot of activity going on there. By the way, the Dalamere acacia trees, they were cut the last week. Yeah. They're down, getting ready for expanding that route, for that construction. For people who use that road, you will tell me, it's completely gone. That beautiful canopy that we used to have around that area, completely gone. I saw some pictures last week and I was like, oof, we're losing that beauty. But let's stick to the matter on the table then this morning. Now, this is what majority of Kenyans are wondering, Joe, is then, we do know construction has already started. The government has pronounced itself that by June of 2027, that particular project should be done and dusted and Kenyans should be enjoying that particular route. Now, we do know that also changes your case right now. And that's what majority of Kenyans would want to hear. Because as it stands, you have to go file another petition, number one, to stop the construction of that particular road, which could see the project halted indefinitely, affecting timelines for the highway upgrade. Conversely, should the government apply for a dismissal for your petition based on the fact that that project has already started and that there'll be consequences if you cancel that project because you got to pay the contractors, then it could see your petition thrown out of that case because of the delays that we've had since you launched it to the time it's getting the hearing right now as it stands. What are your options?
Court redress is the optimum redress. When you go back to, like I said, we still have this discussion on whether to seek court redress again, because we've tried since 2009
Yes.
to have discussion with Kenya, because this is another discussion that we started on November last year. These are discussions that have been going on. And at times it have met with a lot of deafness. Nobody want to deal with it. When we were serving the petition, already the road had not started, Siba. So even if somebody thinks that they can decide to go and seek court damages because of work that is going on in place,
Yes.
we revert that to court. Now, Ken Harris posed.
And I'm sorry to cut you short before you go to the second point. When the president goes on site and says, I have launched this particular project and lays stone, doesn't that earmark the start of that particular project?
Not really. It is all about the process. It is all about the process. 2013, we saw a petitioner that moved to court to challenge the IEBC. And it was not about the results of the IEBC, it was about the process. So this court will address the process. If the process is wrong, then we cannot negate the fact that the launching of the road have been done vis-a-vis an illegal process. That is one. Two, the work of the president is to deal with legal issues and not illegal issues.
Yes.
So when the president goes to launch a road that literally has a lot of negative discussions from public,
Yes.
then are you trying to force, like my colleague is saying, are you trying to force this road into people's throats, or you want to address an issue of the road? Siba, this is my take.
Yes.
That as much as there's a lot of razzmatazz in terms of the road being, the trees being brought down, a lot of sectorial roads being cleared. Kenha wrote on the letter that you wrote that it was still discussing with the contractors. So who is on the road? So if it was still discussing with the contractors to whom to award, who is on the road? Are they the employees of the Ministry of, are they Kenha employees? So in essence, Kenha is not telling us the true picture.
Yes.
That if it says we are still in the issue of negotiating and thinking who will do the road, yet we have somebody on the road. We have somebody who cut those trees. It is not a machine, it is not a robot machine, you see, but that brought down those roads. It is a company. Which is this company that is doing it? Kenha knows. The worst here we can do is not allow principles of good governance to work. If we are starting this process on a wrong footing, then the whole process is wrong. Whether the president launches, whether Kenha says we do not have a contractor, whether they bring down somebody even tomorrow to do another section of the road, the whole process is wrong. I want to bring to your attention that this road have been awarded. The Chinese contractor is the second awardee. Initially, we had a French contractor. That was there in 2024. What happened? The same government awarded that contractor damages amounting to 6.2 billion.
Yes.
So this is a ploy by the same government. We bring in somebody so that we can pay you damages. I think it is the right time that we hold the employees of Kenha personally liable for the damages, for the expenses that Kenyans are going through, the taxpayers are going through in terms of paying damages for wrong decisions in offices. Why did we pay 6.2 billion? Why are we going on so that we can pay another rogue contractor who is on the ground? Some damages because of mobilization in terms of groundbreaking. Why? Because we have employees of Kenha who are known of breaking rule. When you look into the auditor's report, I think it was their part of their December.
Yes.
Nancy Gadogo said that among us the institutions that are down in abusing processes, expensive processes, overusing public resources is Kenha. The same Kenha have been cited wrongly elsewhere. The same Kenha paid 6.2 billion to another contractor. The same Kenha that is writing to you saying, we do not have a contractor, yet there's somebody on the ground. We need this time round to bring Kenha on board and fix it so that all these wrongs that are being done, where you goof, thinking that Kenha you can sit comfortably and arrange with a contractor that let us put you on the ground so that the worst case can happen is for you to be paid damages. This time round, we stop Kenha on the ground, on the process, and tell them if somebody has to be paid, it is you employees of Kenha who are going to foot the bill and not the Kenyan taxpayers.
Pretty much. And another word, a line on that, is that when we made the application, it was under certificate of urgency. So that meant that the respondents had announced that they wanted to do the road, but then they said that still it was under the process. So we cited in the second clause that unless they are restrained, unless their action is restrained, it is going to cost the taxpayers other billions. So we got now that the public were to, so we raised those issues with the court, and we have no doubt that the court is in charge, because now after all the other arms, we are having issues with other arms. Our only hope is in the judiciary, because Kenya is ruled by the rule of law. It is not, Kenya is not a private limited company. Kenya is a public sovereign nation ruled by a supreme constitution, and any other law that is subordinate to the constitution is null and void. So any other rules that are being done. So what we have said, we have done ourselves on our part. We have raised the matter with the court under the certificate of urgency. So what I want to believe, the worry that we are having and Joyce is having here,
Yes.
is the contractor on the ground. I don't want to believe it is the contractor who is a respondent here, who is on the ground. The person who is on the ground is the government agency doing what it's supposed to be doing of expanding a public road. So we are not worried as far as they are doing the road, what they were supposed to done 16 years ago, Simba.
I mean, that is your prayer, Mr. Mrima, that they are well served by the court, and they know that before this petition is heard to and determined,
Yeah.
then they should be on the road.
The
So
big-
your belief is
Yeah.
that, well, that can be Kenha on
Yeah.
the road,
Yes.
trying to do something they should have done 16 years ago.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, the PPP knows better. And the PPP is under CS Bandi.
That's it.
We know that there are so many issues with the office
Yes.
of the Treasury. So we do not wish to think that there is another issue. You know, sometimes they are called economic or whatever problems
That's it.
or crimes.
Yes.
We know that what is happening, they know better, because currently Kenya has got a very robust judiciary.
That's it.
That is where we run for our reprieve.
Yes.
And that is where we have run to.
That's it.
So we are very safe.
So I want to get back to you on that particular question as well.
Yes.
Because it's, you know, it's everybody's prayer that whoever is on the ground, I mean, according to the petitioners, is that, well, that should be Kenha, you know,
Definitely.
trying to maintain the road, you know, and expanding it the way they should have done 16 years ago. But in the event that they are not, Mr. Mrima, doesn't then your petition change to just seeking clarity on the issues you've raised, to number 2 now, extending to asking the courts to halt or stop the construction, the already ongoing construction of the Mount Rironi Summit? And we started this conversation by saying our wish is not to stop it. But then the same things that we're talking about here this morning, Mr. Mrima, about how contractors come on the ground. We go back to cause the courts rule on issues, and then we send them out and then pay them for damages. Don't you think that this particular petition is headed that direction, that now you have again to seek clarity from the courts for the petitioners, for the respondents to tell you who is on the ground, because the construction has started, and if they then declare who's on the ground, you have to come in and then ask the courts to stop that construction, and that will mean cancellation of those, halting of those projects, of those contracts, which mean payment of more damages on the ground until heading to the same place that you're trying to run away from as the petitioners.
We have no doubt in our minds that the offices that are in government,
Yes.
that are the PPP,
Yes.
and the Treasury, Kenha, and the Cabinet Secretary for Roads know the law. We can excuse probably the city contractors here at BC.
Yes. Are you
But
speaking
then-
from a point of confidence? Because you are now in this country, Mr.
Yeah.
Mrima, and we've seen court orders that are spread across the country, but it's nothing. They looked at just a piece of paper that comes to and lands in your office.
We know that the court will proclaim itself, and the court has done that. We have cited several precedents. So you'll find that our faith are in the courts. We cannot doubt
Yes.
that. So we know that in due time, actually we are happy. We would want Simba to have even more machinery and personnel on the road, expanding it, because this is what should have happened, and this is what is happening now.
That's it.
What we know is that there were no clauses or law that was passed to now give the contractor the go-ahead,
Yeah.
because we would have known that. We would have been notified. It's a requirement in law under Article 35 to give the information that now the tender has been won. But we have not seen that in any newspaper advertisement. So what is going, it is just something that cannot worry us, because the matter is in court, and we know that the courts are competent, and in due time they are going to dismiss, or they are going to act
Yes.
and award costs to the public, to the sovereign, that the sovereign has suffered. In our certificate of urgency, we raised the issue, the matter,
Yes.
that we have a precedent where 6.2 billion was paid to Da Vinci, a concessionaire from France, and we lost that money. That money alone, I can tell you, Simba, was enough to rehabilitate the road we are talking about, the Baroque. So we are seeing this is financial crimes, where you are not using the Article 201, you are not using the public finance with how they are supposed to be used in prudence. So now what we believe in is that this, the court actually is, we do not want to speak for anybody, but since we filed this court, and that is why we are not speaking much
Yes.
about it. But what we are saying is what we are seeing on the ground. What we are seeing on the ground is that there are no alternatives being done. The road that is being done is the main carriageway. This is a road that has been funded by the taxpayer through road maintenance levy and the normal taxes.
Yes.
So that is our road by right. So you cannot come and take that road and purport to make it a PPP through rushed contracts, because a public contract takes time. And we have seen that there is this what you call single sourcing in this. This is a matter that is in the submissions, the single sourcing. And we are supposed to have what you call parliament. What was taken to parliament did not involve the public participation. In the public participation, it's very clear that we were promised that the road that was being done was another road, and the existing one would be our alternative.
Yes.
So we were caught unawares that, oh, these people are taking our existing road. So we have real issue about that. But we believe that we are going to get justice, because we want this road done like Thika Road through loans. Loans are physical, sovereign loans that are paid by the exchequer.
Yes.
Exchequer roads benefit all people. There is a misconception that roads benefit motorists or vehicle owners alone. And why most of the transporters are not worried, Siba, they are going to off-road that toll to the common mwananchi. Or where do you think that toll is going to be used? It is going to translate into expensive commodity goods. That is, it will increase the cost of living.
Yes.
It is going to increase bus fares, even for the matatu and buses, and it's going to restrict movement. So when we talk about the long term, because this sign, you cannot sign for the future generation, because you see those people who will be paying toll for that years are the future generation, not the project, the children, the Gen Zs and their children.
That's it.
But they do not have power right now, apart from probably this panel, to speak for them, or the lookup, because we are doing a very good job of trying to pursue the public interest, because everyone else probably doesn't know. You cannot blame people who are buying food through propaganda, through bloggers, showing them that, oh, this road is going to, you are going to move within an hour. The last week, I went to Maraba. I left Nairobi at 5 using a German machine.
Yes.
Within midday, I was in Maraba. Where is this traffic jam they are talking about? They are trying to create, and that is why during the last festive season, there was no traffic jam, because we raised the matter with the IG, and you could see him with the helicopter. So those artificial jams that are made to justify the concessioning of roads, and the name concession, for your information, means ceding.
Yes.
And ceding is when you owe somebody money, which you have not been able to pay. We would want the Kenha to come up clear and tell us, what have we not paid that we are conceding our most important road? That is the port access. And it's being targeted, I can tell you, for its huge volumes of traffic. That is why, if it was a true BOT, how many roads do we have in the northern eastern that are begging to be upgraded?
So many.
And then if you look at the ones that are being funded by the World Bank, the Mandela, Elwak, all the way to Isiru,
Yes.
you'll find that those people will not pay tolls.
Yes.
But how do you think you are going to convince the Rift, the Western, the Kisumu people that you are going to pay tolls so that it's very expensive to do this road, and you are the ones who is going to pay those roads so you can have a good road? It will not be very expensive, it will be just shillings 8. We know that in the toll policy that has not been disclosed, the draft that they are using,
Yes.
the toll fees are classified according to vehicle capacities. But they just talk about 8 shillings. And then they talk about that this will be increased over time. We have our model which they keep talking about, the Nairobi Expressway. It started with a low fee to introduce buy-in. So the ceiling, the 8 shillings is to, so that if you calculate using your car, you say, oh, it's just 1,500 all the way to Nakuru or to Mausamit. But that is not true. You will pay on top of fuel an amount that for the truckers they will be paying one way 7,000 shillings for the truckers. That is the huge, the bigger lorries.
Yes.
And for the cars, it will then, if the Nairobi Expressway is anything to go by, it is going quickly to be increased. And we can tell motorists and Kenyans that it is not only the tolling of roads that is in the pipeline. We have with the drone. Remember when we protested about the vehicle, what did you call it?
Vehicle ownership tax.
Yes.
Vehicle
In the
ownership
country, yes.
tax
Yes.
is coming back.
Yes.
And what else is coming back is inspection
Yes.
of smaller cars.
Yes.
We are also a taxation about pollution is coming back. So motoring will be so difficult. And you know also in the CBD, restrictions of motoring has been done. A lot of parking has been taken off, and that is why we no longer have the night drive, or the people now no longer venture into the CBD.
Yes.
So we are having real issues of targeting motorists unfairly on taxation, and after taxing them, we then give them to private profiteers. So you milk a cow dry, and then you give someone else to finish what you have done. So motoring or transport in this country is important just as money.
Yes.
Because you cannot move from point B. To come here to this studio, you have to use transport. To transport goods from point A to point B, you have to use
Transport.
So the water you are drinking, anything you are taking is transport. So transport is important just as money, if not more important. So this is what is supposed to be protected because this is a matter of life and death.
Yes.
So we would want to see a situation where roads are expanded using ROCO solutions, ROCO problems for ROCO solutions.
Noted.
Let us not trust so much these geopoliticians, the West, the East. Those are after making us their subject in paying. You know, they forced us to pay 16% on fuel VAT. They forced a securitization on fuel road maintenance levy, 12%.
That's it. So 12%.
The 7 shillings that was increased irregularly.
Yes.
Through a backdated Gazette notice.
That's it.
It was an irregularity that was done, and that matter was raised in court.
Yes.
But then again, it was not followed up by Royal Society of Kenya, and it is still stays in limbo. But if you look at the securitization, the ones that the politicians are moving around saying that, oh, we have paid the contractors, and they have gone back to do the roads, these are the vehicle owners' money.
Yes.
The securitization is on road maintenance future corrections.
Yes.
And these future corrections will be paid by the generations that are coming. But is that money being used prudently? The one that was took. And then we would not have a problem if such a method of securitization was the one used against the road maintenance levy.
Yes.
Because already we are the ones paying the contractors, which you are seeing there on the road.
Yes.
Motorists are paying, not the politicians. And then if we had such a model for the Rironi Mau Summit, where the fuel levy was securitized, or during the construction session, securitized for a given money, the 100 or 200 billion or whatever, and then we pay the contractor and then he leaves site.
Yes.
What we do not want is a contractor who does the road and then it remains to charge for that years to charge us money. We are not that foolish.
Yes.
So Kenyans, we would love them to be enlightened and not to be fooled by optics. We know that we have the capacity. We have shown the capacity in the 20 years that we have constructed our 13,000 kilometers. Mwai Kibaki did 2,300 tarmac, and including the Thika Road, the Mombasa River, and the country has been transformed. So we have, let nobody lie that Kenya does not have the capacity. The fuel levy that we pay alone is enough.
Yes.
And again, apart from fuel levy, my colleague Joyce has very well elaborated that this was replaced in 1994. That is, we used to have toll stations or toll roads, but they were replaced in 1994 by a fuel levy, which was in some sense. And then it was increased to 3 shillings, doubled to 6 shillings.
That's it.
And then trebled to 8 shillings. So what they have discovered, before now it was taken to 25. So when they found that after the 25 shillings, there's nothing these people can do, they knew, oh, so we can collect all this money and then subject these people also to pay tolls, which were replaced by the fuel, the same fuel. So they either remove the fuel levy.
That's it.
So that they can introduce
tolls. Fantastic. So guess what? We have a couple of minutes left for this conversation. Kenyans have reacted to your petition since last year up to now. And when you went online with the petition, a lot of Kenyans really looked at what your key points were in these arguments, which is what you've put across this morning. So Joyce, I'm going to start you off. There's a guy here called James Smart. Last year, looked at our conversation. We didn't have time to react when we were doing that conversation. They followed your interview and they said, we're going to go in and punch holes into whatever Joyce is talking about. So this is what James said, that I like this petition, but one problem. It means we have to stop the project because they want everything about the project changed from toll policy, which we do not have, a BOT recognition system, which we do not have, a toll system, which we do not have. So they're basically saying, stop the construction of that road because Kenya doesn't have any policies that support these roads.
James is right.
But is that what you're saying, Joyce, though?
James is right. Because we cannot start on what you do not have. You need to lay the foundation. You need to lay the foundation on touring. That we said, yes, 1984 we abolished touring.
That's it.
We brought in the fuel fee. So let us have our foundation right. Once we have the foundation right, Siba, the roads are not burning. We do not have a house that is burning. We do not have emergency. This road have been there since independence. I was born in Kinagop and I've been using that road. Since we do not have an emergency, please put the foundation right. Once you have the foundation right, bring in anything that you want. And Kenyans are good. James have just told you, Kenyans are good, they will do it. Put everything right. Bring the toll policy in place. Bring the BOT in place, which we do not have. Change now from the BOT, because it's already an existing road. Bring in a new word like improve, you know. When you have that in place, talk to Ajiko, talk to the motorists, talk to the Kenyans and tell them, now, this is what you want. Can you finance it? Siba, when you brought in the issue of, apparently it's the motorists who brought in, it is our office that brought in the issue of the infrastructure fund, whereby it is a periodical pool that you designate to build a Rironi Summit at a cost of 200 billion. We need to have a special kitty to deal with this road. So have that in place so that we do not have a continuous process. We have a periodical correction of taxes or levies or monies to do a certain project, you know, but it's not a continuous, it's not a that year's process. We need to look like a 5-year. We need to do like Nairobi Gong Town for a project cost of so much. Then let us have a special kitty. So when we say that, let us have everything in place right, and then once we have everything in place right, engage the Kenyans, talk to them, this is what we need. Once we have established the cost implication of the same, then incorporate that instead of having the tolls, can we do the fuel levy from 25 shillings to 27 shillings? These 2 shillings that on top, we are going to designate a specific fruit or account to do this project, and this project. So even the fuel levy itself should not be like a progressive way of charging Kenyans. No, let it be a designated way of looking for funds to do our roads. Kenya, we need duos, we need tarmac, because we've established that on improved infrastructure, Kenyans can now access more of the places that they were not accessible. Kenyans can now move. Movement have become quite expensive, I mean very, very cheap. But when we try to imprecate and bring a financial implication on the same, which is very expensive, Kenyans will not use. They will have to not use that facility. Look at Nairobi Expressway, like you said. Why are Kenyans congesting themselves on the Lower Decker, and yet we have a free road on top there? Why? Because they've realized it's quite expensive. We already have a one scenario, which was not shown out in the Nairobi Express. Because when they say that Nairobi PPP is good, is a good model, it's not a good model. When you hit a cab, just your car touching on the concrete jungle on the upper deck, who suffers more? Is it your car or the deck? It's your car that suffers. Yet, we have an example here of a person, of a road user, who was charged 500,000 because of just banging on that concrete jungle. So Kenyans are stopped now using this expressway. We would rather congest ourselves to the lower route.
Yes.
So if we have already an example of a road that is not being fully used, what will happen to Nairobi Express? I mean Nairobi Rironi Summit, 175 kilometers, when we already have an issue with about less than 20 kilometers. So in essence, the Kenyans are talking about it, and they are saying, we cannot do we cannot allow Nairobi Expressway. This is only one user who have said, I was charged so much. How many other road users that are using Nairobi Expressway?
Yes.
That have been charged fines and have not come out boldly to say. So in essence, we need to do a lot of civic education. That you Chinese, you want to take this Rironi Mau Summit Road, what other hidden charges do you have? Because the Nairobi Express, I mean on the expressway, there are several hidden charges that were never disclosed, and today they are being charged on Kenyans. So we need to have this discussion. Bring to the fore, if it's Kenha bring to the fore. Tell us the implication of this road. On event that you bring down, because of mechanical failure, a vehicle can fail and touches on the writing system. What is the implication of you? Will you charge me 1 million shillings? If it's 1 million shillings, I would rather not use that road.
Yes.
So all these hidden costs is what we are literally trying to say. Kenha, you need to come to the discussion,
yes,
and come with open hands. Don't come with the shadows and tell us this is what you're doing, and in essence, that is not what you're doing.
Pretty much. I want to take a minute before we cross over to Mr. Mrima this morning for closing sentiments. I'll read it again. There's Jane Kiyama this morning was saying, the problem is that in this country, we do not have a public participation framework. If the government tells you Kenyans want a road, so be it. So even the petitioners can't prove it in court that Kenyans do not want this road, and Kenyans are the ones who tell the government what they do. So they have spoken.
I think Jen is one-sided on, is talking from two sides of the coin.
Yes.
We already have a public participation framework.
Yes.
But what is on the ground is quite different from what is written.
That's it.
And I've given an example. Nairobi Expressway never disclosed to the road users that on the event you bump your vehicle into a concrete, you'll be charged
You
$1 million.
500,000.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So in essence, the framework is there.
That's it.
But there are several hidden clauses that are there in that framework, that Kenyans know to bring now to the right to the fore. Today, or through this show, we've told Kenyans that if you touch that cab in Nairobi Express, you will be paid. You will be charged. I'm sure tomorrow, when this news goes on there, they'll tell you, enyewe, niligusa hapa na nikachajua. So Kenyans need to be enlightened every day.
That's it.
Civic education needs to be right so that Kenyans can run what is in the process.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Mr. Mrima, I want you to take 1 minute, respond to this, because I'll be coming for your closing sentiments on it. So for you, I would like you to touch on this issue as well. This is from, let me just pick one, because some of them are raising issues that we've already raised. Some are talking about how you are working for the opposition. I'm not going to touch on that. So let me go into one factual one here. Yes, this one is from Martin Musei this morning, who says, I, as a Kenyan, I do not want to pay tolls, but if you make the tolls make sense to me, I will pay to them. Have the petitioners told us whether the tolls are making sense? I also want you to react on that one from Jane, who's saying that we have no public participation policy in this country. So when the government says they've asked Kenyans and the Kenyans have said yes, the courts will listen to the government. Mr. Mrima, take 2 minutes before I come for your closing sentiments.
Thank you so much. Jane, reply to Jane about the public participation.
Yes.
When we attended those public participation, we can tell you that there are mostly
Yes.
with their presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mrima, I want you to hold a bit. I'm getting told that we haven't solved the issue that we had with your microphone. So I'll give Joyce. I'll give you this time because I'll give him his 3 minutes once we come back, so that he can also give us the closing sentiments, and you're going to respond to Jane as well. So Joyce, yeah, I want you to give us a closing sentiment. We're waiting for the May 4th. So what are you, the petitioners, gearing toward? Are you just gearing towards the May 4th date? Then after that, you'll communicate exactly what you're going to do. What are you gearing toward? The May 4th and after May 4th, what are we looking toward? What are you telling Kenyans this morning?
Dear Kenyans, before 4th of May,
Yes.
we'll have a day with court, so that on any unclarified issues can be clarified.
Yes.
So that we do not go into on 4th of May with certain issues that have that are not touching on what you are literally
Yes.
looking into.
Yes.
Kenyans, this war is going on, and do not despair.
Yes.
It is touched, this road, the contract itself is touching on several illegalities. We want to bring into place whereby Kenyans are only paying for what is due. And Kenyans will only properly use, within what is defined in the Constitution.
That's it.
Nobody is going to antagonize motorists in terms of paying for what, in essence, is wrongly due. Before 4th of May, we are going to seek court clarification, and come 4th of May, these issues will be ironed out amicably.
Pretty much. All right, Mr. Marima, just take 1 minute as well, respond to Jane, and also clean this sentiment on what the petition really stands for you after the 4th of May. What are you getting toward? Just a minute.
Thank you so much. So as I was saying, is that the public
Yes.
and they are just a formality. They do not address the issues, and our issues are not taken even in parliament. Parliament is just not for James Mark, where he asked about giving reasons on why toll roads should not happen. We could say that yes, we embrace tolls if they were justified.
Yes.
If they were the only alternative. But right now we are seeing construction of roads across the country
Yes.
using the normal funding. Kenya is a top taxpayer, and we know that we are able to pay taxes. If you look at the matatu industry, the amount of
Pretty much. Yes. That's it.
when they ask for the bread, you should not give them.
Yes.
What are we getting from this one?
Yes.
What are we getting to the CS budget? What are we getting from the CS changes? What are we getting from the executive? So we will be standing for the public, and we expect fairness. And we know that we are not granted the wishes that we have prayed for. Is not asked.
Yes. That's it. See you next week for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.